How do you feel when you put on that mask? Are you hiding from the world? Or do you want the world to hide away from you? Maybe you feel invincible. More than just a man. Or maybe you're just like me. You see that life is nothing but a sick joke.
Hey everyone, welcome to Geekoholics Anonymous, episode 78. I'm your host, Rico. I'm here with my co-host,
Dayne Cody.
We get together once a week, talk about video games, TV, movies, games, I said that already, gadgets, and or whatever the hell we like.
Yeah.
And this week is the week of PlayStation VR.
Yeah, I think that'll probably get some talk from us this week. Unfortunately,
I think we both just got our headsets today.
Yes, we were not cool enough to be sent free ones from Sony.
I asked, and I didn't even get a response to the email.
I didn't even ask. I may ask for some games to see if I can get my hands on some games.
Yeah,
but
I'm thinking of, I don't even know what Sony publishes. They probably just don't have headsets for Canadian podcasts.
That probably wouldn't surprise me.
The PlayStation, but they've been good. They gave me No Man's Sky, which was cool.
Fair enough.
Yeah, anyway, there's cool people working there, but no free headsets for us. But that's all right. Because I think with something big like this, you can have better judgment when you invest money out of your own pocket.
Yep, I agree.
Actually, before we even get into that, usually we start the show with what you've been playing. Obviously, some PSVR today. Get into some news. And then just talk about whatever the hell we like in our free-for-all section. Sometimes we have bonus sections. And then a lot of the time we have our DD section, which is a designated drinking section, where Dane likes to share his fancy alcoholic beverage that he's enjoying this week.
This week I'm still getting over this stupid cold, so I'm actually drinking echinacea tea.
Again, I was going to say you sounded sick a little bit there. That sucks.
Yeah, this thing's just got legs. I don't know. It's like every time I think I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm feeling way better. And then like the next day I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on here? It's like I have this like little tingle in the back of my throat that I just can't seem to get rid of. And it's like a cough that is just lingering like crazy. So it is what it is.
Are the worst.
Yeah, it sucks. So and my wife's kind of got... I don't know if she's got the same thing or what, but she's feeling pretty rough right now too. So it's kind of taken over our household yet again. So, but kept work, and this was, work. So that was good. But yeah, it was a long weekend last weekend for us here in Canada. So we had Thanksgiving weekend, which was a bit of a crazy weekend for me because I headed up to visit some family up in Salmon Arm. So that was a, 4.5 hour drive up over the mountains and whatnot. Didn't think I was going to get to play too much, seeing as I was away, but because my wife had to work on Monday, we had to come back early, which left me all of Thanksgiving Monday to sit in my house, not bother putting pants on, and just play video games all day. Which, in turn, meant that I didn't put pants on and played Destiny all day.
Nice.
It kind of got me sucked back in. I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit down. I'm going to play some Destiny. I want to at least finish the campaign or for Rise of Iron, finish that at least. So, because I don't think it was overly long, which it wasn't. But I feel like there's quite a bit of content sort of in quests that they give you after you finish the campaign, if you will. So, yeah, no, it was, it got its hooks back in me, especially for that day, because I was like, oh, you know what? I'll do some updates to some PC games. I was totally planning on playing some Smite. Put Smite on to download. There was a huge patch that was like 6.5 gigs or something like that. I was like, okay, well, while this downloads and does its thing, I'll, play some Destiny. And the next thing I knew, my wife was getting home from work and I was still playing Destiny. So, yeah.
Nice.
I will definitely say that the story campaign felt super uninspired. Like, it honestly felt...
Did you beat it?
Yeah,
Obviously.
I did. It just felt so... Like, did they even hire a writer for that? Like, for the campaign? Like, I don't know. Like, I got the gist of kind of what was going on, but they never really did a very good job of kind of explaining it. You're kind of all over the place. It's a bunch of recycled stuff. The campaign itself wasn't overly great, I didn't feel like. Like, it didn't really do anything new. The end boss battle was a little bit of a bitch, but got it sorted. Oh man, I almost lost my shit though. So at the very, very end, you got to attack a boss, and then you got to run out of a building, because of course, in classic because video games, and on my way out, I totally died. And when I respawned, it looked like I had to do all of it all over again. And man, I just about threw my controller across the room. I was so mad. So then I was like, after I'd taken a moment to relax and get my anger out, I was like, all right, fine, I'll try one more time to get this thing dealt with. And it turns out that the only part of it that I actually had left was to run out of the, building part, which, while not awesome, was definitely not nearly as fury-inducing as having to fight the entire, boss battle all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So that was better. Because, yeah, for a minute, I was just about, I'm going to throw my controller out the window. I'm going to uninstall Destiny and fucking never touch it again. Kind of mad, but yeah. And then I started playing a whole bunch of the after mission stuff. So I'm sort of working on getting my Galahorn, rocket launcher, and there's a bunch of other stuff. And I also realized that now that I'm light level, I don't know what, 320 or 326 or something like that, that I can go back to some of the other areas and I can go do essentially not missions per se, but essentially everything that I'm getting drops for.
Well, you can go do the other raid. You can do the old Prison of Elders.
Yeah, and all of that stuff
mode.
is dropping loot that's actually helpful to me, not just old crappy loot, which is pretty sweet. So I ended up on the Dreadnought, and what's that? You and I did it the one night. I can't remember what it's called.
The Court of Oryx?
Yeah, the Court of Oryx.
Where you put the runes in and
yeah,
continually different little mini boss battles spawn.
I kind of accidentally stumbled upon that while I was doing some missions on the Dreadnought, and I ended up spending probably an hour. Just I had a couple, and then other people just had a bunch, and I was just sitting there farming the Court of Oryx for an hour or more. And initially I was just oh, this is gonna suck because everything that it's gonna be dropping is gonna be so much low level, but I actually got some pretty cool drops from it, so it worked out.
I think the blues, I haven't been back to Court of Oryx, but if it's anything like Archon's Forge, the decrypted blues drop plus or minus a little bit, whatever your light level is, I think. Is that what's going on?
Interesting. Yeah, they were I'm trying to remember here. It was, let's see. Yeah, it was a little bit it wasn't grossly over my level. It wasn't
no.
These are light level 350 or anything. It was just
plus 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus or minus. And,
yeah.
And those are the decrypted ones. The engrams that aren't decrypted, those ones will top out at 340 when you get closer to 340.
Right.
And then the legendaries also, those ones always decrypt at plus or minus whatever your light level is. So you always want to be wearing your highest level when you decrypt.
Yeah, I always do that. I always decrypt one at a time, and I always put on, even if it isn't sort of my regular loadout, I always decrypt and put on whatever like my best gear is to get the highest light level before I start decrypting stuff.
Yeah. So I think I hit 366 now, but I'm so sad because I was waiting until I hit 365. I had like 9 exotic engrams I was holding on to.
Oh, wow, okay.
Until I hit 365. And they didn't decrypt as high as they potentially could. They can potentially drop up to 385.
Oh, wow.
And the highest they dropped was 369, which is kind of annoying. The more annoying fact is that I got nothing new.
Oh, really?
Out of 9 engrams, I didn't get a single one of the new exotics. I was hoping to get the Trespasser or the Nemesis Star, but But since I already had all those items, I do have some good stuff to infuse into other gear, so I could probably get bumped up even more now.
Well, that's fair, at least.
Man, it's a slog.
Yeah, I'm like, again, I mean, I've kind of into this more end game content, and I mean, I don't know. I've heard that from where I'm at, up into about 340 to 350 isn't too bad. But even now, like, I'm just noticing, like, okay, like, what do I have to do to, get where I need to get? And
Strikes.
Yeah, and I haven't done any, like, new strikes yet, because obviously, like, I'm not high enough level, but I can go back and do some of the older ones, I guess.
Weekly,
like Nightfall Strike or something?
If you get a legendary engram, you can buy a 350 class item from Shiro at the new public space.
Right.
And if you complete the weekly quest for Tyra, the Cryptarch in the Iron Temple, you can get a 350 artifact from her, which you could use across all your characters. It's not locked to a certain character.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Those ones have really neat perks. Like there's one right now that like removes the sprint cooldown.
Oh, sweet.
So those will bump you up quite a bit. And then, of course, you can always, with your legendary marks, buy weapons and guns from all the vendors that are 350.
Yeah, exactly. So no, it's cool. I mean, I'm not like crazy back into Destiny like I was after,
No.
But it was nice. It was a nice, I didn't really think I would jump back in and end up, seeing a day get sucked into it again.
Yeah, it's good new content.
Yeah.
But it's just disappointing with how good like Taken King was.
Yeah, and I think that pretty much sums it up. I think that given it was a year after the Taken King, I think we all expected another Taken King.
Yeah, exactly.
And instead we got a lot more like, it was, not.
It's still good though. I'm still playing a lot, but the good thing is that the guys who did Taken King are the ones at the helm for
Making
Destiny 2.
Yeah.
So they got more important things to work on than an expansion.
Yeah.
That makes me super excited for Destiny 2.
So, and then here I was today. I did not pre-order a PSVR.
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to be able to pick one up.
I didn't pre-order one. I was thinking like, well, maybe I'll get one later or whatever. Like I really wanted one, but it just was one of those things where I was like, well, I don't know what my situation is going to look like after the wedding, et cetera, et cetera. So I didn't want to like, be in a position where I kind of needed to or whatever. So anyways, and then there I was today, I was thinking about it and I was kind of bummed out. I was like, oh man, like really wanted to, get my hands on one, but I don't know, whatever. And I finished, one of my on-sites and I was driving to a second on-site that I had scheduled. And I literally was stopped at a stop sign or like a stoplight and I looked over and there was an EB Games right there. And I like looked over and I was like, and I looked at my watch and it was like 10:30 a.m. and I was like, wonder what the chances are they just maybe happen to have one. you know, like maybe they've got extra ones outside of their pre-orders. Maybe not. And I was like sitting there, I was like throwing it back and forth, like should I? And I was like, you know what? If I go in and they got one, then great, I'll grab it. And if they don't, well, you know, whatever. I'll deal with it later. It's not a big deal. So I pulled in there, wandered into the store, looked at the girl at the front, and I was like, hey, you guys happen to have any, you know, PSVRs? And she's like, we have one. And I was like, okay, is it like the single, or is it the launch package with the PlayStation Move controllers and stuff? She's like, it's the launch package with the PlayStation Move controllers and stuff. And I'd been kind of jostling around, like, where I realized, like, I had a camera already, but I don't have the Move controllers.
Yeah.
So I looked at how much the Move controllers were, and for 2 Move controllers, they're asking like $140.
That's crazy.
It was $135 in store.
Those things were going for like $20 plus or minus.
I know, it
like
makes me sick.
Like when PS3, they were kind of at the end of their lifespan. They were literally being cleared out everywhere. I think I paid full price for my first one, and I think I got my second one for like $10.
Yeah,
something ridiculous.
Yeah. So, anyways, I kind of ran the math in my head, and I was like, you know what? It's essentially better to just pick up the launch package, and they had it there, and I was just like, fuck it. Let's just do it. So I did it. So I bought a PSVR and threw it in the truck and carried on with my day.
I know, you sent me a picture, and here I was thinking I wasn't going to get one. I ordered one, but I didn't think I was going to get one because I hadn't got my shipping email.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't think I'm going to get this thing tomorrow. I'm like, I went to bed last night at like midnight.
Right.
And I still hadn't received a shipping notice. And I was like, oh man, this sucks. And then I'm like, do I go to the store and try to get one? And then of course at work, I'm on the peninsula with a gigantic freaking job, nowhere near a store. Like, I'm not getting any store by 10 until like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I'm like, forget it. But when I woke up, I had my emails.
Oh, nice.
And then the next thing I was panicked about was, now is the wife going to be home? Because, of course, she had like a play date to go watch a movie today.
Right.
With one of her friends and the baby.
So you weren't even sure if anybody was going to be home to get the package
Jesus
today.
Christ. So I'm phoning her and she's not answering the phone. And I'm like, son of a bitch. And I'm like, it's out for delivery. And there's nothing I can do about it. And I'm like, and then I'm going to miss it. And then I can't pick it up today. And I was going to be very sad. It turned out when I was phoning, she was receiving the packages from Pure Later.
Oh, good stuff.
Which was sweet. So I got home and promptly set it up and started playing.
Yeah, I pretty much did the same thing. I set it up. Surprised, like it was weird. Like the setup, there was a lot of moving pieces to that. I felt,
a lot of cords.
Yeah, a lot of cords. Like not complicated to set up. I felt like they did a really good job of the instructions. It was just like, unplug this cable from your PS4 and then plug these ones into this box and plug, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like they did a great job there. Yeah, exactly, with the giant book that felt surprisingly much larger than it needed to be.
Yeah, the pictures are really big.
Yeah, exactly. But they did do a good job of, like, you know, step by step. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And then, I mean, like, turned everything on and it all worked. So that was great. What was the first thing? Like, I got the PlayStation Worlds, or I don't really want to call it a game, but I guess it's
more than a demo compilation.
Yeah, there's like 6 games some of them aren't much more than demos, to be fair. There's the underwater one. That's what I started with.
Oh, the shark one. That one's supposed to be cool.
No, there's 3 parts to that, actually. The shark one is the third part. So there's like one where, like, I feel like it's a really good way to get people sort of comfortable with VR, to be fair.
Before we talk about that, I want to rewind.
Sure.
So you got the headset set up.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? I don't want to restart now, you stupid Windows 10. God damn it. Windows 10. Sorry for the interruption. So you got it out of the package, you got it all hooked up, you put it on, it's working right away. How did you feel putting it on yourself? I know we did it at PAX, but in your own environment, which did you use the headphones that came with it? Did you use your own?
Okay, so I initially just plugged in the ones that they supplied.
Yeah. That's all I've used so far.
That's the only ones I've used so far.
Earbuds.
Yeah. The thing is that, like, I have a pair of the wireless, like, PlayStation headphones, but I don't know if it does, like, the full 3D audio unless it's plugged into that little, like, headphone jack in the cord.
It came, if you didn't lose it, that headset came with a cord to plug it in. So you can plug that headset in, if you weren't aware of that. I saw a lot of people complaining about that, and I'm like, I just got to plug it in. I got the cord, and I can still use that headset.
Man, I'm trying to think of where was it? Just like an auxiliary cord?
Just a little headphone jack, 2 on each end.
Yeah, so essentially an auxiliary cord.
Yeah.
Either way, I've got one of those around, so I'll have to look around.
I'm pretty sure you can do that. So
okay, fair enough.
I found it was easy to set up and it's easy to get on. I noticed right away that I feel like it's looked better than any headset I've put on, like visually, compared to the Vive or the Oculus or even the PSVRs we tried at demos. So now I don't know if that's because those are dirty, heavily used. Maybe they're not the same screens. I don't know, but it was super vibrant and for the most part, very sharp.
I was very impressed with it as well, actually.
I'm like super blown away. I'm like, okay, this is better looking than I remember from every time. And like,
they do have the OLED screens, right?
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the Rick and Morty demo on Vive?
Yeah.
Like, that was awesome, but did it not seem very flat?
It actually did seem quite flat. It seemed
like it was washed out. Like, it didn't look very clear or, I don't know. So I put this thing on and I was like immediately impressed. I'm like, okay, I remember, with most headsets, there's a little bit of a blur. They got like a peripheral vision thing going on. The center of the screen, for anyone who's never used one of these headsets, the center of the screen is where the sharpest image is.
Right, yeah.
Easiest to read text. It's closest to crystal clear that you get in VR. Because it's like, it blurs out the sides. It's like a dithering. Obviously, that must be like processing VR tricks, right?
I think it's partly processing and partly the way the optics work. Like,
yeah, because wherever
you're looking at a flat screen, but they need to try and pull it around you somehow as well.
Exactly. Right? So wherever you're looking is always very sharp, and then the stuff just off to the edges kind of blur out, like like your regular vision. Like it feels like everything's super sharp on your periphery, but really it's not because your eyes aren't focusing on it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You get that information. It's the same thing in VR. So sometimes it's a little weird because when you put it on, you expect it to look like a 1080p or a 4K screen, super sharp, across the whole screen. But you got to remember, the screen's not. Anyway, whatever. It kind of simulates like that. That's part of VR. I don't know how to explain it, but it looked awesome. I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, I always felt like the headsets I tried always just had this blurriness, and it's like, it's just part of VR. It's going to get better. But I was really
I know what you mean.
How good it looked.
It was almost like, and I mean, I don't know if there was like, just because I never spent any time with it at PAX, like just
really
adjusting and fine tuning it.
Well, exactly.
But I totally agree with you because I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember, like, I put it on today. and I went like, whoa, this is great. Like it was clear. It was really crisp. It looked fantastic. I was really happy with how it looked. But I know what you mean. It was like, instead of that little bit of like fuzziness that I felt I was sort of used to at using it the other times, was gone.
And not
like,
just
it felt
PSVR.
way clearer.
This is all headsets.
Yeah.
Like, I've had demos with the Vive looking really crappy or looking really good, but I don't remember any of them looking this clear. Like, this screen looks awesome. It is an OLED where all the other ones are pentile. So it definitely has much less screen door effect than all the others. So
I've been very impressed with that.
It's definitely got the best or the least amount of screen door effect because of the density of the pixels, the way an OLED is compared to those pentile screens, which are more grid-based pixels.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the screen looks awesome, like better than I feel like any demo I've done. So I'm like, right off the bat before playing anything, I just like super impressed.
And I still think that they've got the most comfortable headset. The way that
it is very comfortable. I felt like the Vive, like I had a boat anchor on my head.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though
it's
I like the
heavy.
and the cord just feels really heavy with the Vive for whatever reason.
I mean,
the Oculus is pretty comfortable too, but this one is definitely really nice. I feel like I'm not screwing around with it because you can tighten it up the way they designed it, like a baseball hat, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. The way you slide it over your face and kind of tighten it up from the back. The only thing I will say, and I don't know if it's just my face shape, and I don't remember having this issue at PAX, and I got to look into it a little bit more. There might be a way I can adjust it. I find that my eyes are super close to the lenses, though, to the point where, like I pull the headset off, and, like, there's mad, like, sweat on the actual... optics.
I think my eyebrows have hit it. I like it close.
So is it like, I'm wondering, like, there might be a way to adjust the depth, right?
There is more advanced settings I was noticing when I went into the settings, because you can actually adjust the separation of your eyes as well.
Oh,
so
interesting.
There is a bunch more advanced configuration you can do. So I'm sure you could tweak it even more. I haven't played with that stuff, but when I was trying to register my One Move controller, wasn't registered with my PS4. I'm like,
okay.
I saw the PSVR section, and there was like 10 things that you could play with.
Cool.
even by like making that default like theater mode of the desktop or the cross media bar, whatever the hell you call it.
Yeah.
Like, it was set to medium like screen size, so you can make it large. So I guess so it simulates an even bigger screen.
Right, okay.
So there was like a bunch of settings I saw in there. I didn't play with them because I was like, okay, I got this thing on. Let's jump into something. And I downloaded that demo disc. So not the PlayStation Worlds one that you have with 6 actual games. I downloaded the demo, and I didn't get the full bundle. I got the standalone headset.
Right.
Because I already had Move controllers.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I have 2 cameras. Now I have 2 cameras. I was going to say, don't ask me why, but I have 2 because when I bought the 20th anniversary PlayStation, it came with a color-matched camera.
Right.
And that old school gray. So, anyway, whatever. I just have that packed away. That one, that's like never left the package.
Right, okay.
So I knew I was going to get it a couple days ago, and I started downloading there's a section on the PlayStation Store. There's a bunch of free experiences. There's some, I think there might even be a couple. There's a Playroom VR, which is a game, which is free.
Yeah, I noticed that automatically installed as soon as I
that's probably part of your
hooked up or whatever.
PlayStation Worlds disc.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I preloaded the demo disc, so I wouldn't have to put the disc in. So you can actually download that demo disc, which is loaded to the gills with demos.
Awesome.
And I only played a few before we came down. Like, we were kind of late because I'm like screwing around on that thing, and you were at dinner.
Exactly. I was playing up until like
you're saying
7:30 or something like that, and then I was like, "Oh crap, I got to eat before like we do a podcast."
You're playing the PlayStation Worlds one. What was the Undersea one? Again, you were talking about?
I think the undersea one is a great sort of starting point for VR.
What is it called?
It's called like Deep Sea Explorer or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And essentially there's 3 levels, and the first level, all it does is you are in a cage, and you're in a coral reef, and you can just you're just hanging out. It doesn't move. You can look around, but essentially like nothing happens. There's like fish swimming by you, and you can like do stuff. You can look. Essentially, you're just sitting there looking, and that's all it does. And it I don't know, goes on for about 3 minutes or something like that, and then it just fades to black, and you can choose the next one, which it goes. The idea is that it goes a little deeper into the coral reef. And so the next one
is it just on rails and you're an observer? Yeah.
Well, the first one you don't move at all. The first one is, like I said, I think the first one I think would be a great starting point for somebody for VR. It's like, here, put this on. You're not going to move. All you're doing is looking around in a 3D environment. You can see the fish swim by you. You can like look around at all the cool details and like, interact and whatnot with kind of just that. You're not, moving at all. The second one, the cage starts to slowly descend into the coral reef. So it drops. So like it's the same thing. It's like, but instead of being completely stationary, you're slowly being lowered down into the coral reef. And as you go deeper, you see different kinds of fish. You see like these really cool manta rays that fly by, and like there's barracudas that like swim by, and like it's really cool. But of course, as you descend, it gets darker and darker as well. And then kind of at the end, there's not a whole lot of light. You're down like a depth of like about 100 feet or something like that. 150 feet. I can't remember. Somewhere in those ranges anyways. And then all of a sudden the lights go out, and then you see these iridescent like jellyfish start to light up all around you. And it's really cool. The third one is the shark encounter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one I refuse to do.
You refuse to do.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I have an irrational fear of sharks already. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I saw Jaws when I was too little. I don't know. Like, I know that they're in the ocean. I have no problem swimming in the ocean and like enjoying the ocean. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I have this like weird, strange fear of sharks. And I don't know. I'll probably try it at some point, but like the idea of being in VR, it's like your brain knows it's not real, but it's real enough that it's makes you very uncomfortable. So I didn't do that one. After I finished the first 2, what I did is I connected my Move controllers to the system and calibrated them or whatever and got them set up.
Yeah.
And then I played the London Heist.
Yeah, that was cool. I did that demo last year. Not the past PAX, but the one before.
Right. So I started playing that. I didn't actually fully finish it because it was actually, I just kind of ran out of time. But, so it's a whole story now. I don't know how much sort of you got to see in your demo initially, but I was doing the story
mode. There wasn't much
mode.
story. Basically, we got into a car, we're driving down the highway, and just started shooting people.
Oh, yeah. There's way more story involved. It's pretty cool. I mean, I won't like spoiler it or anything, but essentially you get sort of, it starts off and you're like strapped to a chair and, some dude's trying to get answers out of you. Like, what the hell happened?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're sort of like, you do flashbacks. And so like the one is like you're standing in an office trying to like figure out, like you're in this like dark office and you're looking for stuff. Oh, I'm not going to lie though. Okay. So even before that, you in your first sort of flashback, you're sitting in a bar in what I can assume is London, because it's London, the London heist. And you're sitting in a bar, and it's so cool, man. There's a cigar on the table and a lighter beside it. And you reach down and you pick up the cigar, you pick up the lighter, and you light the cigar. And here's the crazy thing. If you pull the cigar up to your mouth and you suck in and then you blow out, you will actually blow smoke in the game.
They must use the mic for that, I guess.
That's the only thing I can think of, but it was cool as balls.
Because it was working with you sucking and blowing.
Yes. It was so cool. So this guy is like talking to you about all this stuff, and he then he pulls out like a cell phone and he puts it on the table, and he's like, you're going to need this, and you can like pick up the cell phone and light it up and do stuff on it and set it up back on the table. And it's just kind of like a great little, you're just playing with stuff. You can just grab, like I said, my cigar went out, so I had to relight it. He hands and he's talking the whole time, and then at one point he like leans in and he's like, hey man, can I get a light? So you can like grab your like lighter off the table and light his cigar for him. It was really cool, and I was just sitting there and like playing with shit, and my wife was just like, oh dear God, I should have like recorded this. This is so stupid. But at the same time, she was like, that's pretty cool, and then you start to go into the actual what the heist was and what you stole. And then I more or less ended the demo at the end of the car chase scene that you did, where you're like leaning out the window shooting dudes. And
that was really, I thought that was badass when I did it.
It was awesome. I was like leaning out the window, and it was great because it was the first time I'd actually done that demo. And then this time it's the whole sort of game, if you will.
Yeah.
But one thing I did run into one interesting sort of thing. So I was sitting, the way that my living room is kind of set up, it's not like I was sitting in the middle of a couch or something, but I was actually on the end of my couch. So the one thing that I found was that, in the car chase scene, there's the bag of ammo beside you, but that's where the arm of the couch was. So I couldn't like get my move controller low enough to grab ammo. So I ended up like dying, and then while it was sort of like recalibrating or whatever, like in between like reloading the level, I like slid down the couch to give myself like a area beside me that was empty. And that seemed to work a lot better. I could actually grab ammo to reload my guns. So, just things to be aware of when you're playing in VR. But man, it was great. When I was in the office looking for what you were supposed to be stealing and stuff, like it was so cool. You felt like you're there. I mean, I'm opening up drawers and I'm like rummaging through papers, and like you're trying to find, what it is, because there's a safe and you're trying to figure out the combination, and like it was really well done. Really, really cool. So, yeah. And then pretty much I realized what time it was, and that's kind of where I cut my demos short so far, and then ate some dinner and came and recorded the podcast. So that's currently my PSVR experience as of yet at home. So far it's been fantastic though. I've been really impressed. Tracking seems to have been like worked really well. I did notice a little bit of the sort of shimmying, I guess,
with the controllers.
Yeah, like a little bit of the like.
I noticed the closer you're to the camera that it like pretty much goes away.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm thinking that when you're farther out, it has a harder time being more accurate. And it still works. It wasn't to a point where it was bad at all. I never had any issues with the headset doing anything weird.
No, the headset's been fantastic.
But yeah, with the Move controllers and the regular controller, I noticed the closer I went, the shaking like went away.
Okay.
I'm guessing the ideal way of probably setting up the PlayStation camera is just getting it on a tripod in front of you. Because if you look at the Oculus and stuff, they have their little camera right in front of you. on a little pod, right? Whereas the PlayStation camera is like sitting on top of your TV, so it's above you or it's below. So that might affect the sensitivity with that being on an angle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. So the way my living room is set up, I've kind of got a long rectangular living room with windows on the one end. I have a door. If you're facing sort of like out the window, there's a door on the right, and right beside the door, there's a fireplace. And because, of course, the last thing I want to do is put my TV on top of the fireplace, blah, blah, blah. We won't get into all the details. I have my entertainment stand beside the fireplace. So, of course, the problem now is that my couch is not directly in front of my TV. So I've got...
It's like offset a bit or something?
Yeah, which is totally fine because my TV has like a swivel mount on it, which is where my TV is mounted. So it's not a big deal. I just angle my TV a little bit and it's fine. But what I'm thinking about now that we're talking about it and now that I'm sort of thinking about it, because I can swivel my TV like that, I'm thinking that what I'm going to do maybe tomorrow or whenever I have another chance to sort of get back into VR is I'm going to take my chair, my office chair, and I'm going to just roll it around the corner. And what I can do is I can just angle my TV over to the right where there's nothing, and I can just sit in my office chair with the VR headset, and I think it'll work really well because I'll be a little bit closer to the sensor, but I'm also still going to be able to be like seated, but there's not going to be anything to the left or the right of me in my chair, right? So I'm thinking that that'll be a very optimal sort of solution to my hitting the arm on the couch issue.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. I got some decent room in the office, so it works pretty good.
Nice.
When you're done with that demo, I don't think I'm going to buy PlayStation VR Worlds, but I'll probably...
yeah, I'll send it over to you.
One day when I see you, I'll have to borrow it when you're getting done with it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, did you play anything else, or was that it after that?
That was the last thing I played. Like I said, I pretty much I realized what time it was, and I wanted to eat food before getting on here.
I jumped into the that demo disc.
Right.
It's not a demo disc because I installed it on my system for me, but basically you're greeted by like a white matrix room kind of with nice hills and stars and stuff. And then it just has like title cards, like the old school arcade tops. Those rectangular logos for all the games.
Right.
And basically you there's like 18 demos or more. So I just started playing demos and I'm like, okay, let's go into Battlezone. Battlezone looks cool. I don't know how long it would keep me entertained, but it actually lets you move with the left stick. So it's the first game. It's not the first game. That's a lie. But it has the forward, back, and strafe left and right on your left stick, like a first-person shooter, as you would expect.
Okay.
And then your right stick basically pivots your turret up and down and turns you.
Right.
It controlled great. I didn't get wheezy. I didn't feel, for me, I don't know, it must be there's just a high percentage of people have issues with that control scheme, or maybe it's the frame rate on games that they're trying to shoehorn that have issues, but Battlezone played great. I didn't get queasy. It felt awesome. I'm in a cockpit. I can look everywhere. I'm using the controller to control my tank, and I thought it was really cool.
I played the Battlezone at PAX, not this year, but last year. And I thought it was awesome. I haven't had a chance to play it now since they've had a chance, but I was thinking to myself, this could be a blast, especially with some friends.
It's got multiplayer. I don't know if it has a co-op campaign.
Okay.
I don't know if the campaign's amazing or anything, but the controls were solid. The graphics look cool. It was it's like being in Tron, the video game.
Totally.
The Tron tanks.
Absolutely.
Skating around this futuristic, grid-based world. I thought it was really cool. It was a cool demo.
That was one of the ones
I'm
that
on the
really
fence.
that was the one that really sort of cemented like this kind of stuff could really work for me, like in VR.
Yeah. So I jumped into, after that, Valkyrie, because I wanted to see how that compared to... I played that on Oculus, so that was on like a super high-end PC.
Yep.
It looked freaking great, man. Space shooter, same kind of thing. You control with the sticks. It's inverted because it's like a plane. Down is up and up is down.
Oh, I hate that.
And I was engaging in some space battles. It is a super short demo. It's shorter than the demo I played on, just even at the Oculus demos.
Right.
It's a super tease, but it looks freaking cool because there's all these giant ships and you're in the middle of a giant space battle. It looks and feels really cool. I think the coolest thing about VR is that, like, I'm in a cockpit and everywhere I look, there's stuff, and I'm in this freaking world. That sensation is so awesome.
It's the feel of full immersion is the thing, right? Like, you are fully immersed.
The only issue I have with Valkyrie is I think it's primarily a multiplayer game, so I don't know if there's a campaign. If there is a campaign, I think I'm going to buy this game. But I haven't seen any reviews yet because it just came out, and I don't think anyone had it early. And I think
GameSpot's got their review up. I know that. I know a bunch of people actually do. They released... I saw a thing earlier from the developers of it.
On IGN.
And there was a bunch of reviews that were up on Battlezone. It was getting surprisingly
I just meant on
good.
Valkyrie, right?
Oh, sorry, yeah, on Valkyrie. You might be completely right. Is the full game even out yet? Or is it just the demo? I don't understand,
but it's super expensive. Like, PC. Yeah, that's on PC though. PC Gamer gave it 60%. Multiplayer dogfighting shooter.
Right.
I don't know. The little demo is pretty cool. If it has I don't think it has a campaign though. Like, even on the Valkyrie site, is a multiplayer dogfighting shooter.
Oh yeah,
if it's multiplayer only, I don't really care. I would like to play a campaign because that first when the game starts, it feels like a campaign mission, and that's really cool. Anyway, I didn't feel like, oh my god, this looked like dog shit compared to the Oculus.
No.
And again, I didn't get queasy. Might make some people queasy because that's like spinning through space, and you naturally want to have your horizon adjusted with an up and a down, and in this, it's like, I'm blatantly flying upside down, combating.
Yeah.
And there's a ship there. And then I played some Job Simulator. As soon as we're done the podcast, I'm running back and playing more demos. Job Simulator is pretty cool. That was fun. My wife was watching me. She was laughing. You're basically a robot pretending to be a human, and it's basically the demo is they have you in an office cubicle.
Right.
And it's like, this is what humans called work, and they would start with coffee, and you grab a coffee cup, put it in the machine, drink the coffee, eat a donut, turn on the computer, send an email, and meanwhile your computer robot buddies are coming up and talking to you, and you can interact with everything on the desk.
Is it one of those like where like the control scheme is kind of weird, like the physics are kind of like the control is part of it?
It's with the two move controllers. You can grab and throw stuff away.
Okay.
You can interact with everything. It's just like playing any Vive game. Obviously, You can't really walk around. You can move around, but it doesn't obviously have the same range of motion. But I could move and grab and turn and interact with everything just like I felt like I was using Vive controllers. Like, there is a little... It's probably not as accurate as the Vive or the Oculus controllers. I'm going to give them that.
Yeah.
But it's not like a steaming pile of shit.
No.
Like, half the price, it isn't half the performance.
No, not at all.
It's just not as good as the twice the price version. It's definitely doable. I didn't find it really taking away from anything that I was doing.
I was honestly amazed because when I was playing part of the London Heist demo when I was in the office, you're essentially rummaging around behind this guy's desk, but there's like guards that keep wandering by and they check in on you.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually have to like duck down behind the desk so they don't see you.
Yeah.
And I was amazed because like I started the demo seated, but I actually ended up at some point standing up and like looking around and underneath. And I was amazed at how much I could actually, like I was at one point like trying to look underneath the desk, which I totally could. Like it felt very much, like a Vive or an Oculus type thing.
I don't think if you haven't used the other headsets, you probably wouldn't even notice. Like you would notice, but you would just be like, "Oh, that's just the
limitation or whatever
of the shakiness of the I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad. And like I said, when I stepped closer to the camera, it seemed to like go away. I noticed this in Batman, because my hands had a little shake to them, right?
Right.
Like, you could tell that they're moving a little bit.
I noticed that a little bit when I was lighting cigars in the London
jumping
Heist
around
demo.
the screen like crazy. Just a little shake. Not my headset. My head was fine.
Yeah.
It's just if you had your hands in front of you, they moved a little bit. And I took a step forward, and then my hands like totally smoothed out. So I don't know if it's because they're not using lasers like the HTC, which is 2.5 times more expensive.
Yeah.
I think it's very. I think lighting has a big thing to play with it, as well as your distance to the camera. And like I said, I took a step forward and it stopped shaking.
Are you playing in like a dark room?
I was in my office, well lit. Actually,
okay, so
actually backlit as well because I have windows.
Interesting, because the one thing I'm kind of curious about. Like, does this work better if I turn off the lights and just have those?
I think it's more distance to the camera. I think
or
more
is
than
it,
anything.
Because then of course if you turn off the lights, all the camera's looking at is just tracking like the move in the headset, right?
Yeah, and I feel like Sony with the complaints of the little twitching of the hands or the VR representation of your hands, I feel like that's something you can adjust in software.
I think you're not wrong.
You could just be like, don't do motion like that. You know what I mean? Just smooth the motion of the hand regarded it. Like if it's trying to be so pinpoint accurate, it doesn't need to be. It just needs to be smooth, like mouth smoothing. You know what I mean? Almost.
Yeah, no,
I'm
totally
sure.
agree with you.
I bet you this will get better. I guarantee you.
There's no doubt in my mind.
I know some of the people got really hung up with it, but that's because they've used, they've driven the Lamborghini or the Ferrari, one of a kind, and they're not happy driving their Nissan GTR, even though it's just as freaking awesome. You know what I mean?
No, I totally agree.
But if you didn't ever drive the freaking, LaFerrari, and you were
the new Miata is just fine,
and you were in a Porsche or a GTR or a Corvette, you'd be like, "This is the fucking most amazing thing in the world." Like I said though, I was so impressed with the screen because I honestly thought when I got home and put the headset on that I was gonna be like, "Okay, this blurriness is just part of it." Again, it is blurry on the peripheral vision, so no one get that wrong. All the headsets are like that, and that's because how your eyes work and the lenses and stuff. But I can't get over how clear and nice and colorful and vibrant the screen looks. I'm pretty impressed. I'm really impressed. I was expecting it to not be as good as it has been.
Yeah, that exactly what you just said.
I was going to be like,
I don't know. I kind of, after the initial sort of reactions to sort of the headset and whatnot had kind of been released over the last week and stuff. I think I'd said in not last week, but the week before his podcast, I said, maybe I was a little bit apprehensive about, what was happening. And we kind of talked about that. And now that I have it and it's in my house and I've, obviously, don't get me wrong, I've only played an hour and a half or whatever with it. But so far, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic
really
for the price point.
That's it. I think if I had a Vive or an Oculus and the amount of money you spend on that, I think I'd actually feel disappointed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Considering how much more expensive they are, but I don't think their experience is really any like it's better from that fidelity, preciseness, but
they're definitely like they're better experiences, but I do not feel like they are twice as much
I don't
money
think they're better.
experiences.
I don't think they're better experiences. They're maybe better controlling and maybe better looking in terms of like a graphical fidelity, but I don't know that. This thing looks awesome. It looks great. I think the headset, the imagery just looks as good as, like I was saying, like it just really, when we played that Rick and Morty on the Vive, I just really remember really feeling like that was washed out and faded and didn't look very clear at all. And I still had a lot of fun, and I feel like the PSVR looks better.
Yeah, I've been very, very impressed.
I'd have to have all three, and then I'd be like, okay, but I'm very impressed.
I'm very
happy right now, and I have Batman to play. I did play some Batman before we sat down here, so I got past the part where the stupid chick made me stop at PAX. It's basically it's a point and click Batman adventure.
I may have to do you a trade.
Well, I bought it digitally, so.
Oh, well, never mind then.
I was thinking about buying all my games retail, because if I ever sold the headset, that I'd have them all on discs.
Right.
But I had like $60 PlayStation credit, so I bought Batman and I bought Res Infinite.
How much was Batman? Was it $30?
It was $26 on the store. It's $30 in retail. It's $26.99 on PlayStation Store.
God damn it.
So
I might have to buy that. That's.
And
I mean, who doesn't want to be Batman?
Yeah,
and I mean, it's the closest thing we're ever going to get.
It's only 90 minutes apparently. There's several chapters, and you go back, and there's different stuff you can do, but it's pretty neat. It's like being dropped in. It's from Rocksteady. They basically drop you in Arkham City. Like you're
that's cool.
In Arkham City, and it's all VR, and it's Batman, and it's telling a story.
But you're being a detective, right?
Yeah,
like that's
you're being a detective. It's not about beating up people and fighting people. It's Detective Batman.
Right, and that
Bruce Wayne.
Sounds awesome to me. Can you imagine? I want to see Telltale make like The Wolf Among Us, but in VR like that.
Makes me very excited.
That would be super cool.
For some of the stuff that's potentially going to... This is the launch console. These are launch titles.
Totally.
I'm pretty sure the PSVR is going to do very well. Like, I'm going to be surprised... I'd be surprised if it's a flop. I don't think it's going to be a freaking Pokemon Go 50 million. But it's going to move some units, and I think it might spur some quality development that some of the big AAA studios have been just kind of like on the fences right now to be like, is it worth the effort? Once some of these launch games probably come out with some impressive numbers, people are going to be like, damn, we need to release something on PSVR.
I'm really curious to know, like, obviously right now, I was thinking about this earlier. Obviously Eve Valkyrie, that was an Oculus launch / exclusive. And I was wondering, I wonder if some of these other experiences and games, like, for example, Lucky's Tale, that also came out on Oculus, I wonder if those are things that are going to be coming over
I'm
as
pretty
well.
Sure some of that's, like, Batman is exclusive apparently until March next year.
Right.
And then I'm sure it'll show up on Vive and Oculus Touch.
I feel like Sony is in such a great place.
I think Sony's in a better position for two things. Lower cost.
Still not cheap by any means.
No, but it's definitely half the price. At least half the price.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Bigger audience, and what was the other thing I was going to say? Price, audience. They have all the relationships with publishers. And the other thing is there's no piracy. There's no piracy on PS4.
Yeah.
So on PC, you can pirate Oculus games apparently very easily if you had a Vive.
Oh, I see.
So how many Vive headsets are out there that aren't buying any software? That doesn't help anyone.
No, it doesn't.
Definitely doesn't help the platform. So there's another thing which may make developers be like, well, we're going to release on PS4 because there's 2 million headsets, which is, 10 times the install base of the PC ones. And guess what? Our games will sell as opposed to just get pirated.
Yeah. I mean, I also think that in a way it's great because, there's not really any exclusivity so much on the PC side that can't be sort of brought over to consoles. You know what I mean? Like Eve Valkyrie is an exclusive to Oculus on the PC, but they can also release it on the PlayStation 4 for, the PSVR. And it's not like Microsoft, at least right now. I mean, who knows? This might change with Project Scorpio. Maybe they'll announce like an Oculus, partnership or something like that, but nothing like that has been announced yet. So as of right now, Microsoft doesn't have a VR strategy on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
So it's like right now, you're the only game in town for anybody on console who wants to play VR.
And a very successful console, the PS4.
Totally. There's over 40 million PlayStation 4s. So even if, like you said, a tenth of those people pick up a headset, that's 1 million headsets sold. That's incredible.
Yeah. They're easily going to move 1 million. I'm pretty sure they're going to move 2 million by Christmas.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. The people at EB today were quite surprised that they had any extra stock outside of their pre-orders. Like, they had a bunch of pre-orders, and they said, like, they didn't expect any more. And they said they had gotten 2 more.
I think most stores got some store extras because I don't think Sony wanted anyone to
sort of not be able to get
be able to get it if they really wanted to try, especially for the people who missed
the pre-order that happened
back in March.
Fast. Yeah,
back in March they went quick, so I think that was part of it. So I think they made sure they had some extras. So some people are like, "Oh, I just walked in and got it." Now tomorrow or the day after or after this weekend.
Might not be the case.
Probably going to be a little bit until there's a restock. And especially with more people besides just the hardcore gaming press.
Well, you know what's going to happen, right? Is this weekend, all the people that picked them up today are going to have friends over.
Oh, exactly. That aren't
they're
so hardcore. They're going to be like,
and all of a sudden,
crap.
like, there's going to be a bunch of more people next week that are going to be like, shit, I got to get my hands on that.
And then their friends are going to try. Yeah, I think it's going to be, I'm super impressed. We've been huge VR fans since the first time we tried it and shit our pants.
Totally.
So I'm so happy to just have one in my house now, and I'm very impressed with what I've got. Like, it's an awesome product. It feels solid. It looks amazing, and I'm happy to have it. Now, that being said, if you don't have a lot of money, it might be pretty expensive. You might be better off waiting to see some more of the reviews of games, or waiting for even more games to show up. I had disposable income because I didn't buy an expensive VR headset that I was saving up for. So for me, I got the money. It's not a big deal. I don't know if I would. Do you want to play Titanfall 2, Battlefield 1, and
I know.
Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Final Fantasy 15? Like, that's $200, $250, $300 just for those games.
Oh, easily. If you're in Canada,
so
when
like
they're $80 a pop.
Well, yeah, they're $90 a pop after taxes, pretty much.
Yep.
So, what is going to bring you more enjoyment? Is that where your friends are going to be, and that's what you want to do this fall? Maybe wait until after Christmas with your Christmas money and buy your headset, so you don't miss out on those big
or
games.
Ask for it for Christmas, and maybe if you get it for Christmas,
if you got some that's a pretty big Christmas present. I don't get presents that big anymore.
Yeah.
And again, now I'm a dad. I don't really get shit. But you know what I mean? So you got to make that decision. If you got the money and you want to experiment, hey, or if you know me, I have a bunch of friends which I'm pretty sure who listen to podcasts are going to be like, I'm going to come over and try that thing. You can always test drive it at my house now. I've got it, right?
Oh, dude, all the guys at work were like, dude, you got to bring your PS4. We got to play that.
And if you can get to one of the... I think they have demos at Best Buys and EB Games, more on the mainland, not where I'm at, but in the major cities. You really... Seeing is believing, right? It's just... I don't know, I'm pretty impressed. I think
VR is that thing that we can sit here and talk about it till the cows come home.
Yeah.
But really, until you experience it for yourself, it truly is, you do need to experience it because it is so hard to tell you how immersive it is until you experience it for the first time.
I really wonder how the PS4 Pro is going to have an effect on the VR. Its performance, if any at all. Like, I really wonder.
See, and that is actually one thing that I'm super curious about because obviously now I've splurged on the PSVR. I will definitely not be picking up. I was kind of on the fence, maybe picking up a PS Pro, or PSVR, and I decided to go with the PSVR and stick with my PS4 right now at least.
I'm going to get a Pro because I can actually sell my anniversary system, which... It's pretty freaking awesome, but I'm not so attached to it that getting a PS4 Pro for free and still having some money left over.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, for me, I got the new 4K TV. I want...
it makes total sense.
I want all the Ks, and I can kind of get it. Like, I paid for that PS4.
You want all the pixels.
It was $500 when that one came out, or $400. A super limited run, one of 10,000 or 12,000. So it's cool, but it's just the color,
Yeah.
And a little sticker on it, or a little iron plaque on it. Like, it is really freaking cool, but at the same time, like, I'm a graphics whore. I want 4K, and I want
for sure.
I'm not really thinking about it for the VR thing. It's just more for my TV and for... And
I'm wondering what it's going to do for VR. Because, like, for me, I don't own a 4K TV. I've decided to wait a bit. I don't know.
I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed with the stuff that Out of the Box is doing that I don't know if it's going to do much more. I think it's more for the games that are going to have more effects, non-VR games. But... we'll find out. That's a month.
I mean, it's obviously with the extra horsepower, I can see it being useful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not so much in lots of things necessarily, but VR being one of the few things where I could honestly see it being helpful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's I'm very curious. I'm like very, very curious to find out. Cause like obviously like if, experiences are running way better or way smoother or whatever with the PlayStation Pro, that's going to be a hard thing to not sort of maybe, throw some money aside for sometime next year and pick it up or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and also my next thing that I'm super curious about is like obviously right now we're seeing, like you said, sort of that entry level run of software that comes out with, sort of like a new console launch with VR. I'm very curious to find out what kind of legs as far as like what software they've got in the pipe over the next, just from now until say March even, and they've, and what's going to actually be released on time. And because that'll really, depend on how much are you using your headset? Like, is it, you know what I mean? That's the other aspect of this as well, right? Because it's like any new console release, you buy it and you buy a couple of the cool launch titles, and then you usually beat those, and then what happens? You kind of go through that lull, right? So I'll be curious to see if that happens here or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm hoping that we get some really cool... I'm sure we're going to get some really cool things. I think this thing's going to do really well. I'm pretty excited. I just want to go play more. I want to end the podcast.
Yeah. But now we got to get into some news.
Yeah. So that was your PSVR hour. I was going to say minute, but we almost talked about an hour. There was some Destiny nonsense in there.
Iron.
But yeah, let's get into the news. Big news, PSVR's out.
That's the thing that happened today.
Other news, Mafia 3 is also out. that just came out on Friday. I've never
Apparently
played any of the
it's-
Mafia games.
Apparently, it is janky as all heck.
Yeah, it's very glitchy. It's made for very cool GIFs and videos in my Twitter feed. I've seen some really amazing ones, like super amazing.
I have laughed very hard throughout the day.
Apparently, if the jank was not there and the game was tightened up a little bit, that it could have been a really... It's a decent title. Like, it's a solid 7. I think some people who really like Mafia 2 are a little disappointed because I think apparently that was a really good title. And then for this one to come out... What?
I've owned a Mafia 2 for I don't know how many years. It's in my Steam collection. I think I got it with a video card like years ago, and I've never even installed it.
I don't own...
It just felt like a slower Grand Theft Auto. Whenever I watched stuff about it, it was, that like 1920s, you're driving around in like the old crappy cars. I shouldn't say crappy, but old cars and being a gangster. And I barely am able to get through a Grand Theft Auto game. Never mind
I love the
Mafia
Grand
game.
I love the Grand Theft Auto
Yeah.
games. That's the thing, because I love the Grand Theft Auto games. I'm just like, I just didn't like the art style. So I was like, whatever. I'm like, I never tried. I'm sure they're decent. They have a following, but yeah, it's kind of disappointing that number 3 came out and it's super glitchy as hell. I have no desire to play it.
Fair enough.
Overwatch has a Halloween event going on right now.
That it does.
There's a bunch.
If you log in right now, you get a free Halloween box.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, man.
Shit, son.
I don't know if it's still on or not. All I know is
Shut
that
up.
I got an email a few days ago, and
I
they were
better
like,
get a free box, or I'm gonna
make
frickin'
sure to log
shoot
in and
somebody.
get your free Halloween box or whatever. Halloween event is on now. I was like, sweet. So I logged in and, of course, didn't get anything cool in it, but, no skins or anything like that. But
bunch of Halloween skins, which look really cool.
Yeah, some of them are a lot better than others, I think, but nonetheless, there's some really cool
skin
ones
is
there.
freaking amazing.
Reaper and Mercy's skin, I think,
Yeah.
both look awesome.
Mercy's looks awesome too. She's so fucking hot. I mean, what?
Some of them are like, I don't know. Some of them I was kind of like, really? Like, that's all you
Meh.
kind of could get?
Anna's is good too,
Yeah, Anna's is pretty cool.
and Zenyatta's isn't bad, but I think Reapers and like you said, Mercy's are the best.
Like, I was pretty disappointed with Farah's. I was kind of like, really? That's the best you could come up with?
Yeah, hers is just like she's got like neon, like she's a freaking Japanese car souped up and lowered.
Yeah, exactly.
Little purple neon going on. I guess she's got like a zombie kind of. She's like pale. Maybe she's like a vampire or something. But
I'm also noticing there isn't one for a few characters.
Yeah, there's but that's not the big thing. There's a single player co-op mode.
Yeah, what's that about?
The weekly brawl has got you like fighting waves of zombies cooperatively. And
Junkenstein's Revenge.
apparently it's freaking awesome, and people are like, we need more shit like this in this game. And they're like, please let this like mode stay because it's really fun. I haven't tried it yet.
I didn't even realize that, actually.
I did update Overwatch because of the patch, and I have
It's a large
obviously
patch.
been kind of distracted. VR and Gears of War and all this. We're just at the start of this of the game season. Well, we're deep in it now.
Oh, yeah.
Heavy hitters coming out like every couple of weeks here now up until December. So speaking of Overwatch, some images leaked of Sombra, the character that everyone assumed was going to be the first one. The image for it looks pretty badass.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool looking, like, have they sort of said anything about
Not really.
what her feature set might be or anything like that yet, or?
I don't know. She's got like a little submachine gun, so I'm going to assume she's going to be probably like a speedy character like Tracer.
Oh, okay, yeah, That makes sense because there's really kind of only one.
It's really just Tracer.
Really like
So I have a
fast
feeling
sort of
she's gonna.
character.
I feel like she's gonna be probably in that vein of character. I
Interesting.
like the character. Man, Blizzard and their character. They just know how to make characters. They're just like, that's a cool looking character. I like that character just by the way they look. I know nothing about them, but they look fucking cool. Their design is just so good. World of Final Fantasy gets a demo next week.
Yes, it does.
Before it releases. It's kind
I'm
of
guessing it's probably like the one
that you played at PAX.
that I was playing at PAX. Yeah.
Dragon Quest Builders, speaking of Square games, is out now and has been getting great reviews. If I didn't have so many games on my pile, I'd actually probably pick it up. Like a lot of people, I've been hearing lots of positive things. Like it's getting good reviews. I just
like
don't have time.
man,
I just don't have time for it. So I'm probably
super surprised at what that game did to me. Like I stopped playing the demo at PAX and I really wanted to play more of it.
Yeah, like Minecraft is awesome. But you get to a point in Minecraft where it's like, okay, now do whatever you want. And then it's just like, you feel like a kid on the floor with just Lego all over the place.
Right. You don't have any real...
You're just like, I don't know what to do.
Building.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. But if you had a little quest guy, sitting next to you while you're playing Lego going, hey, you should build a blacksmith.
Yeah, for sure.
You should build an inn. You should build this. Like giving you quests and give you direction would just make that a lot better. And now a lot of stuff like this come to Minecraft. I haven't played Minecraft in years, and I'm pretty sure they've added tons of stuff. But this game just has the RPG mechanics and such a cute look and aesthetic. From watching you play, I'm like, okay, this looks kind of neat. And now with all the general good reviews for it out there, I have too much stuff going on right now. And then I got Titanfall, and then I got Call of Duty, and then I'm Watch Dogs 2, and freaking, oh my god.
I'm definitely going to have to sort of choose my upcoming games wisely.
I want Dragon Quest Builders, but I'm going to wait until it's on sale.
Yes, I may actually reach out to those guys and see if I can get my hands on it.
You spoke to...
Square.
I didn't get the card from that guy.
He was,
guy.
yeah.
Anyway, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is 130 gig install. Clear out your hard drives.
Fuck. That's bigger. That's bigger than my SSDs are. Period.
It is 2 games. Yeah, that's really, really big.
That's huge, man. So big.
I assume you really don't need to have Call of Duty Modern Warfare installed once you beat it. But it does have the multiplayer, so I don't know how popular that's going to end up being.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So yeah, there's your warning. Clear out some space so when you get it home, you aren't disappointed by not being able to install it because you had to spend half an hour humming and hawing over what you want to delete.
Oh, no kidding.
Ubisoft is giving away Beyond Good and Evil for free on PC. So
interesting. The PC version.
Because
I know they've released it as a PlayStation Plus game before and an Xbox Live free title.
It's part of that 30-year anniversary that they've been doing on the Ubisoft. What do they call there on Uplay, on the Uplay app? So you can grab it. It's free for this month, and then I assume there'll be there's a couple more in November and December, and then that promo's done.
Right.
That's one in my pile of shame. I think I own it on a couple systems. The HD remake, I think, somewhere.
I feel so bad that I've never actually played that game.
Yeah, and I haven't played it either. But people love it. It's got a cult following. And then
apparently it's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
What else do we got here? You put this on here, but I did see the stories everywhere. Steam is getting native PS4 support. This is out of Steam.
PS4 controller support.
Steam Dev Days. So the DualShock 4 is gonna just work with Steam or any Steam games, which is pretty sweet.
And it sounds like they're doing a really good job, and apparently the input lag is going to be like super negligible. And apparently it's like raw. So the way that Xbox controllers work with the PC is they actually have like their own API. And so the way that apparently Steam is doing, like Valve is making the PS4 controller work, is almost like modifying their current Steam controller drivers and support to pretty much map to the PS4 controller, and apparently it's been working really well. They're saying it's really impressive, so that's really cool. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have, my Xbox One controller plugged into my PC for those times that I want to use a a controller on the computer. But I think it's great for people that maybe don't own an Xbox One or whatever, and they want to play some, especially great for like indie titles and things like that, where you want to, you're playing those types of games that work better with a controller on your, from Steam or whatever. I think it's sweet. I think it's a really good idea. And it also just gives them, more, you've maybe got a PS4, but you don't own an Xbox One, so now you can use that controller on your PC, right? Mm-hmm. You don't need to worry about like weird drivers and downloading and using, what was the one right now that they were using, the like DS4 and stuff like that? Or
I never got into any of that because I have an Xbox One controller, and with Windows 7 it was plug and play. And all the games recognize it, so it's just like,
Yeah, exactly.
So I just never bothered.
That's cool. I think it's neat. I think it's a good idea. So,
what else we got? Samsung finally kills the Note 7.
Man, what a...
It is done. The Note 7 is done.
So they have flat out announced that they are, like, what they've done is they're recalling the Note 7 now, and they're not sending out anymore. They're actually killing production. They're asking people to send the Note 7 back, and they will either refund you your money, or in some cases it sounds like people are getting other phones out of the deals. Some places they haven't fully announced what the deal is going to be yet. I know in Canada they're a little bit like, we're not really sure what's going to happen exactly, but we need you to send these phones back. They're like, the Note 7 is going the way of the Dodo in a bad way. Like, people are estimating that this blunder could cost Samsung a lot of money. I've heard anywhere between the realm of $7 and $30 billion. And that's billion with a B.
They've lost a lot on their market cap via
huge
stock dropping.
Huge, because not only is it going to cost them in sending these all back and dealing with all that, you've also got, for the next, year or two or whatever, there's rumors that they're now dropping the Note name.
Oh, so the
from
damage is
here
done,
on out, they're not even going to call it the Note anymore.
You know what sucks? I wanted a Note 7. I almost bought one. Like, a couple days before the recall happened, I'm like, oh...
I remember us talking about that. You're like, oh man, I really love the Note 7. It looks so sweet with the stylus. And like,
I haven't had my 7 for very long. I could get a decent amount of money back for it and then just pay a little bit of an upgrade fee, and, it would have cost me. But man, thank God I didn't, because I would have been screwed. Well, I would have got a Galaxy Note 7 for free as a replacement, but still. It would have been a huge pain in the ass switching phones and then switching back and then being disappointed because I just lost. Like, I don't understand what freaking stylus should just work with any and all phones. You don't necessarily have to have it like stuck in the phone. I know there's like fake styluses, but like I want like the Note style one. I feel should exist for every phone. It doesn't make sense. It's stupid. Now the Note 7's gone, so I can't get that. I wonder what they're gonna call it. Like,
I don't even know.
Is it just going to become part of the Galaxy 8
stylus?
line or
Like,
something?
I don't even know. I don't even know.
So, I guess we'll never know, or we'll know in a bit, because there's been a real recall. I guess we're going to find out whether it was chemistry of batteries, firmware, or just straight up hardware failure.
Man, I have heard so many
I've heard a lot of things
with this.
Apparently, the refurbed batteries or the refurbed phones were not refurbed at all. Like, that they had just a different firmware on them that didn't allow them to charge as much as the old ones, because apparently people who got the replacement said the battery life sucked on the new one after. Because I think they capped the battery at, like, who knows, like 80% or less, or 90%.
There's also a rumor going around that I've been hearing that apparently it may have something to do with the fast charge technology on those phones. Apparently something to do with the way that the fast charge with the processor and the battery works. It was charging the battery too fast, and the battery is essentially overheating and causing it to explode.
Yeah.
Which the technology is there.
But people's phones that caught on fire, like, they weren't charging them.
No, I know.
So that seems like something else. That seems like a chemical or hardware failure. There must have been a major manufacturing failure. That sucks. That sucks for Samsung too, because they've been killing it, and they've been on a good stride lately, and this is not good.
Yeah,
Definitely
it was bad.
Definitely not good. I still love my S7. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, still hate my S7, but I still think I have got a bad one.
I think that's Rogers.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Either way.
Rogers.
Either way, I gotta, hopefully maybe this upcoming week, send it back and try and see if I can.
You were saying you were working on that for a while now.
I know. But now I have a separate phone for work, and it's, so now I wouldn't be phoneless if I send my phone in, so.
Yeah. I think that's it for news, unless you think or got anything that we missed. There was a story that I just saw before we sat down. Remember Palmer Luckey?
Oh, jeez.
Do you remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
We talked about him, the Oculus founder, who's
been funding
a hate group that he was vice president of.
That was...
And his non-apology. Well, I didn't read this story, but apparently he's nowhere to be seen at Oculus.
Really?
So people are suspecting that he has been removed.
Well, I mean, he was always in a weird spot, right? Because, like, when Facebook took over Oculus, he was sort of a figurehead that, you know, they kind of kept around, but he's not even really the one running Oculus anymore, which is kind of the weird thing. So, you know, that kind of wouldn't surprise me if they just decided, like, all right, well, you've kind of outlived your usefulness. So, you know. Yeah.
I'm trying to scan this. I'll have to read this, but it's interesting. He hasn't responded to any requests for comment.
Right.
He's lying low, that's for sure.
Yeah, that is what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I just thought I would talk about that because we talked about it a little while ago. I wonder what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure Facebook's not too happy about that.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they,
a big social site where Mark Zuckerberg is definitely a non-Trump supporter.
Yeah, like a very big non-Trump supporter.
Probably not too happy that someone under him is a idiot. Lack of a better word. So that brings us out of the news and into the free-for-all.
Yes, the free-for-all.
Did you watch Luke Cage?
I have not.
Sucks. Did you put this link at the bottom here?
I did not.
Oh, that must be.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's left over from Jude.
Oh, okay.
Never mind. Okay, you didn't watch Luke Cage. I didn't. I didn't watch anymore, so I don't have any more. I just thought that maybe you watched it. Okay, that's your homework.
No, because we were away. We were away for the weekend, and I never really got a chance.
Thanksgiving. So. Damn, Thanksgiving. Oh, Thanksgiving is so good. I love turkey. How about you talk about your video card that we didn't let you talk about last week?
So, anybody who's listened to the podcast knows that I've been running dual NVIDIA 670s in SLI for the last, since we've been recording this podcast. And those were always great. Those were great cards. They were workhorses. They were only 2 gig cards though. And they were starting to show their age. I had a buddy of mine that ended up picking up a new card. He picked up like a 980 Ti, and he had a 290X Radeon, AMD Radeon 290X that he was essentially no longer using, that I got for a really good price. I'll probably throw these 670s up for sale and more or less get my money back that I spent on the 290X.
Mm-hmm.
Now, certain things run more or less the same as they did with my dual 670s. Things such as Overwatch. Frame rate's about the same, maybe even a touch lower on my single card now as it was on my dual cards.
Mm-hmm.
But surprisingly, some other games, especially the Ubisoft titles, I was blown away when I played The Division. I shouldn't say I didn't really necessarily play The Division, but I loaded The Division up, and on my previous 670s and SLI, I had a very difficult time. If you've been listening to the podcast, you probably heard me say, like, that is the first game in years that I'd ever had to drop. Like, I had to put some stuff settings on low. And like, I had to put stuff on low and a few things on medium. Like, it was really hard on my system. I was like, wow. Like, I was super bummed out, kind of blown away that, like, you know, cause I know like, that horsepower is still there in those cards.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just the way the architecture works with the only 2 gigs of RAM mixed with the fact that it doesn't really, like, the SLI isn't being utilized properly. I don't know. You know, I've ran tests when I was playing The Division with my cards, and I knew that both of them were maxed out. So it's not like, you know, one of them was sitting idle or anything like that. Like, both cards were working hard as hell. But anyways, put my new card in, putting everything on high, not even dropping below 60 frames a second.
Nice.
It's incredible. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you always seem to have more PC issues than me, so I'm wondering if it was just your cards showing that they're getting maxed out. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's really weird, you know, like, I don't know. It's just, you know, it could be a variety of things, but I especially noticed that, obviously, as being, like, the first thing that, like, made my eyebrows go, like, holy crap, that's crazy, awesome. And then the other one was actually Rainbow Six Siege. It was a similar thing. I had most things on medium, a few things on low on my old cards, and I was trying to get, like, a consistent 60 plus frames a second, and it was like, I was barely able to do it. Now I'm able to put everything on high, and I'm getting over 100 frames a second in that game. Yeah.
Like, it's incredible. And I'm very happy about that. So, in case anybody was wondering, like, the 290X, they essentially rebranded it, added a little bit more, they added added extra memory and gave it a very slight overclock and re-released it as the 390X. So, you know, you can essentially look at, so if I'm looking at benchmarks or whatever nowadays, you can look at, you know, the 390X is pretty much my card minus like 5% kind of a thing. But no, and I've been super impressed. You know, drivers have been great. I mean, obviously, you know, knock on wood like any new video card. Obviously it's not a 1080, so I mean, it's, you know, but I'm only running 1920 by 1200. So, you know, a little higher than 1080p.
Yeah.
And for this resolution, it's great. Like, it's a great card for these resolutions. The only thing I will say is, good Lord, does it ever run hot?
Yeah. That's,
that card, man. Wow. Like, it idles at like 56 degrees Celsius.
I was going to say ATI, but is it ATI still or is it AMD now?
It's AMD. It's been AMD for years. Yeah.
I was going to say that those cards have Radeons and ATI, AMD have always been known for just pure, straight, freaking loud and hot horsepower.
Surprisingly enough, not overly loud. Apparently, and I've been like, you know, because I was doing like my due diligence on this thing. And apparently it's like designed to run at 94 degrees. Like apparently like when it hits 94 degrees, that's when the fan starts to actually kick in and actually get loud.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's pretty warm.
That's very warm. Like my old 670s getting to like 70 degrees was pretty hot. But that's the way they've you know, designed this card. Apparently their newer cards like the 480 and stuff, that is not the case at all. Apparently they run much, much cooler and obviously use a lot less power. That's the other crazy thing. This 290 by itself takes almost, not the same, but almost the same amount of power as my two 670s and SLI did.
Nice.
But again, that being said, I got it on I got a great price on it. I can't complain there. And for, you know, what it is, it's a surprisingly fast card. You know, it's a few years old now. That architecture, you know, was like late 2013. So it would have been, you know, probably announced in September, October, probably actually kind of got into the pipeline, you know, November, December. Because you know how video cards are. So it's, you know, essentially a 2014 card. So it's a couple years old. But especially for, you know, 1080p, which, you know, I'm running more or less great. You know, Witcher 3, cool. Same thing. Like I was really impressed. Like it's, you know, everything has been running
inexpensive.
As much as I hate to admit it, way better than before.
Inexpensive upgrade that you have gotten tangible returns on. That's nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's it. You like, I wanted a 1080 because it's cool to say I got a freaking 1080. But running a 1080 on a 1080p monitor that I'm already getting max frames, overkill. Frames with everything turned on now.
Yeah,
it literally does. It's like throwing money out the window.
No, absolutely.
Like I need a 2K monitor or I don't know, or move to 4K to really make it worthwhile. But I'm only playing on I'm playing on a 1980 by 1200, so it's a little more than 1080p, but my card cranks everything. So it's like I would see no difference with a 1080, except for that I could brag that I have a 1080. So sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Like,
yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I'm at that point now where I realize that what I'll probably do is I'll keep this card, and you know, maybe mid next year, once the new 7th gen i7 desktop processors and stuff come out, then I'll probably just do a full gut. I'll do, you know, motherboard, processor, RAM. And depending on how that looks, maybe then I'll do a video card, or maybe what I'll do is I'll just keep this card in here and then wait for the, you know, the 1080 Ti or whatever to come out and upgrade to that. Because, I mean, I'm at that point now where I need to do, you know, motherboard, RAM, processor upgrade anyways. So now this has definitely put me in a position where it's good enough. And so that if I do that, it's only going to help the card, give it some more legs on top of that, and probably, let me wait for the next gen of, NVIDIA cards or who knows, maybe even AMD cards. I don't know. We'll see what the 490 looks like or whatever it is they're coming out with. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think when I get to the point where I have to drop stuff off is when I'll look at getting an upgrade, and that probably won't be until next year or even the year after. Like it'll be
and that's exactly where I was at with my 2670s.
Yeah.
People are like, wow, you're running those 2670s for a long time, and I was like, yeah, well, even Overwatch. I mean, that game ran on
Overwatch
Ultra,
runs,
every single thing on, and it was running at you
don't need
over
you don't need a new video card. It's more of a yes, it's nice.
Yeah. But when I started having issues running the newer games, when I was dropping things to medium and low, that's when I realized okay, I'm gonna have to make a change.
Yeah, I don't PC game for medium or low graphics settings.
Hell no.
This PC Master Race, motherfucker, ultra settings, bitch.
Yeah. So I've got this is the 290X. It's got 4 gigs of RAM now. And it's also what is it? I think it's the Asus one with the Wind Force and the sweet cooler on it and junk like that. So
that's cool. My buddy works for AMD down in Seattle.
Nice.
So you're supporting him.
Cool.
Good job.
Well, you know what? It's also one of those things where I haven't had a AMD, a Radeon card.
I can't remember
in a long time.
Card. I had one, but I can't remember.
I think mine was the 1600 XT.
Yeah, see, their numbers are so crazy. I don't know why the NVIDIA ones are easier to remember, but for whatever reason, the Radeon ones always just seem more complicated.
Yeah. Especially recently. Because this is the Radeon R9 290X, and then they released the Radeon R9 390X, and then they released the R9, what was it, the Nano and the R9
Fury.
The Fury and the Fury X, which made no sense.
Chicken Monkey and I don't freaking know.
So
with that, my friend, I'm going to say we have a show.
Absolutely.
This is the PSVR special. We will obviously be back next week with more impressions, because obviously we'll get to actually play more games.
Oh, yes. That'll be a thing that will definitely be happening.
Play more games and have more longer impressions. I'm pretty sure I don't think things will change much. I think we'll still be pretty high on it, except for we'll probably figure out what is the awesome game. And on that demo disc, the kitchen's on there, so I'm going to make my wife play that.
Oh man, you're a jerk.
Because she laughed at me when I told the story that I was screaming like a little girl. You should get your wife to try it. Or
No way.
You didn't do kitchen, did you?
I did kitchen.
Oh, okay. You should get your wife to try it.
I'm not that mean. She would hate me, man.
That's the thing with those scary demos. You literally gotta I think you gotta warn the person. This is scary. If you're gonna want to throw the headset off, be prepared that you're gonna buy me a new one.
Yeah.
And or just tell me off, and I'll take it off your head. But don't friggin' throw the thing on the floor.
Yeah.
I think
I think I'm gonna
I think
I'll probably start her off with the undersea one where she's not moving, she's just able to look around and enjoy some stuff.
I'm looking for the advanced experiences, so I haven't tried anything like that, so I don't know what the best thing is I have right now, because everything I have are full on games. That might be a little much for someone who's never done it or isn't a gamer already.
Right.
I think that's going to be a serious thing. It's you want to try it? Sure. Can you afford to replace it if you break it? Yes? No? Well, maybe I'm not going to let you try it because I don't want you to throw my headset on the floor if you get scared or dizzy or weird.
Yeah. Just a little bit of an FYI. In relation to what I was saying earlier, where my eyeballs seemed super close to the glass on the PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a little button on the bottom of the headset and that allows you to bring the screen closer or further away from your eyes. So if you press that button, you can adjust the screen further or closer. So
separate from the button on the right.
It's the one on the bottom right.
Yeah, the one on the bottom right moves it forward and back. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Oh. Yeah, I move that like super close. I like it close.
I liked it close too, but my eyeballs are literally like touching it almost. So
that's a little too close.
That's my point.
My forehead I guess my brow doesn't let me get it that close. I want to go one more click, and I just can't because my fat head. Or it must be the way my eyebrows are or something.
Yeah, like my eyelashes are just about, I think, hitting that screen. So
you can follow me on Twitter at RickF, no K, RICF.
You can always hit me up on Twitter at Dayne Cody, at DayneCody.
Make sure to like us on Facebook, give us a review on iTunes, follow us on Instagram, Twitter. We're at Geekoholics everywhere. Just Geekoholics. You'll find us for the first search result. If you've got questions, don't be afraid to hit us up via our personal Twitters, the site's Twitter, or our email address, geekaholics@gmail.com. If you've got PlayStation VR questions about games, questions about the headset, you know where to find us.
What's our favorite color? We'll answer pretty much anything.
Yeah, anything. I've been really lazy with posting on Facebook because we were getting really fun questions when I did that. Just getting back into the rhythm of getting back from PAX and vacations and weddings and
babies
stuff. And babies.
Yeah.
Until next week. Thanks for listening. We love you.
But what happens when
VR's awesome.
What we pretend
Peace.
to be? When illusion becomes the new reality. Does it even matter? After all, if you find a mask that fits, you never need to take it off.